some measures about 475%, bringing the Academy Awards back, Jimmy Kimmel and live production on the Boulevard. But I do two things. One I'm doing in the city right now. It follows a number of measures I've done to make Los Angeles more film-friendly. But pilots are the beginning of new television shows. 3 years ago, 80% of one-hour dramas on our networks filmed here in Los Angeles. 2 years ago, it was just 40%. And last year, just 2 shows, 2 pilots, filmed here in Los Angeles. So I introduced legislation to make it free for new pilots to film in the city of Los Angeles. And if they get picked up, to be free for the first year, to bring them here. Second, I go to Sacramento and ask them to take off the cap on the film tax credit. That is the thing that will make the biggest difference to make sure we keep filming here in California.
Thank you.
James, this question is from Warren Reingold. Will you actively pursue a professional football team in the city of LA?
I want to bring professional football back to Southern California. But the stadium project in downtown with AEG is the wrong project. We don't have an NFL football team. They want to put $300 million plus of public money, and so they argue it's not public money, but they're bonds. It is public money. I want to bring football back to Southern California, but we will do so without your public money, and we're not going to crowd downtown out either. Imagine, you think the Lakers and the Kings and Nokia Theater is going to close down on the weekend for football? Absolutely not. We have to make it work in downtown Los Angeles, and adding that football stadium with public money doesn't.
Thank you. Jim Perry has 30 seconds for us.
30 seconds. Okay, Kevin James, I actually kind of like you, but you know, I told you before, you're a lawyer, you need to do a better job on your research. You know darn well that there is no taxpayer money in this project. You also know very well that AEG is responsible for bringing football to the city of Los Angeles, not the city of Los Angeles, and you know full well that if there is no football team, a stadium will not be built and we will not get a new convention center.
Thank you. You can stay standing up as the next question is for you. And it's, what is your position on the politically motivated sweetheart concession contracts at LAX? And it comes from Ken Newman.
Sweetheart? Well, I didn't have a sweetheart in that situation. So I voted on the merits, I voted on what our chief administrative officer advised us was the best for the winning team. I did not get involved in sidebar discussions or side negotiations or any conversations about it off the record. So I voted on the facts as they were presented to me, and that's how I always vote.
Okay, thank you. Controller Gruhl. This question is from Bobby Baker. What will you do to stop agency waste, interagency employee transfers and inflated salaries, and other flagrant misuse of taxpayer funds?
Well, there's a lot of what I've already done as a city controller will continue to do as mayor. One of the first things I want to do as mayor of Los Angeles is implement the audits that I have put forward that haven't been acted upon about the council and the mayor, and make sure that our general managers are actually doing it. When you've seen my audits, I've come out and said, for example, on our fuel usage, where we found $26 million we spent on fuel each year, we found $7 million we couldn't tell you which vehicle went into. And people, even at this table, criticized me and said, why would you even suggest that? Well, guess what? The worst case scenario was that people were stealing. The best case scenario was the system didn't work. It was a little bit of both. So I'm going to continue to be that taxpayer's watchdog, because you have all worked very hard in your lives to make sure that we have the kind of services necessary, and we'll continue to do that as mayor.
Gene? Yes, one more. Well, I got one more. Oh, I'll do you one better. Councilman Garcetti, from Bob Anderson, how will you reduce helicopter noise? Apparently a very hot issue.
Well, I've been very supportive of federal legislation to do this. This is obviously something under the FAA's jurisdiction. I know that as well, the FAA oftentimes is a difficult agency to work with. My relationships in Washington, I'm very proud to be able to pick up the phone and be able to talk to folks directly in this administration. And as mayor, I'd be happy to take it directly to the White House, to the Obama administration, and to talk to them about what that impact has been. It is time and time again. You're not alone. We get it in my district all the time. We get that sometimes because of public safety, but quite often just because the low-flying helicopters are right there over our heads in transit. We need to have them 2,000 feet up and above. I supported Congressman Berman's legislation to do this, and as mayor, I will make sure that if we can't get it done legislatively, we'll get it done administratively with the FAA.
Okay, and we are coming into the home stretch of this thing. We have One more question and then a closing statement. So for this question, each candidate has 30 seconds to respond. We'll start with Jim Perry and go down the line. And the question is, what would be the first action you would take on your first day as mayor?
The first action I would take on my first day as mayor is to assemble a team from the inside and the outside, the private sector and the public sector, and to attack our budget deficit and bring our pension costs and our health care costs and our salary disparities back into line, to demonstrate to the taxpayers that we have done the due diligence and every possible option we can exercise to balance our budget and get rid of our deficit and improve our infrastructure, pave our streets, trim these streets, get these street lights on all over this city.
Thank you. Councilman Garcia.
Thank you. On day one, I'm going to ask each of my general managers to reapply for their jobs. Under the city charter, that is the responsibility and it is the power of the mayor. To make sure that they come in reflecting the values that we hold in this room. It is the mayor's cabinet, and yet most mayors just inherit who was there before. There's good people who will continue to work there, but I want to make sure they reflect responsive, responsible, and open government, so that you know how to judge them and that I know how to judge them, and that they will put a focus, number one, on jobs and rebuilding the economy.
Thank you. Controller Rule.
My first day of office, I'm going to stop the cycle of crisis and layoffs and lack of services. I'm going to implement that $160 million worth of waste, fraud, and abuse that I found, as I mentioned earlier. I'm going to hold those general managers accountable and make sure that they follow performance-based budgeting and actually do their job. But it's even more than that. It's going to be bringing businesses to the city of Los Angeles. It's going to be calling that day every business that's in Los Angeles I call today and get them to come in to Los Angeles, move their business in and say, there's a new sheriff in town, we're going to be business friendly, and I'm going to work with you to make that happen.
My first action, and your question is the first action on the first day, lots to do on the first day, but my first action is to publish an honest assessment of where the city stands financially and fiscally. We haven't had that from this city government. And the reason I'll be able to do that on the first day is because there's a transition period from the May 21st election up until the July 1st swearing in. And during that transition period, as mayor-elect, you're able to get into the books a little more closely and to tell you the truth about how close we are to bankruptcy.
Thank you. Jane, before we go to the 1-minute closing statements, first of all, I want to thank you for coming in at the last moment and substituting for Phil Truman. Thank you. And read, you want to see what's happening locally, read Gene Mattis' columns and stories in the LA Weekly.
Follow me on Twitter.
What?
Follow me on Twitter.
Oh, on Twitter as well. Number two, when we're done, we're not done yet, make sure to clean the room, otherwise Chuck and Jules will be here till midnight. Number three, when we're done, please come up and talk with the candidates one-on-one. And lastly, I'd like to introduce former Assembly Speaker and our Assemblyman, who Sunday will be in front of this table running for office again. Won't you? Bob Hertzberg. He got lots of money for our district. With that, back to you for the closing.
Okay, closing statements. We're going to go in reverse order from the opening, so we'll start with 1 minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out tonight and participating in this process. We heard a lot of good ideas tonight. Some of them even came from my opponents. And in fact, we've heard these good ideas before. Election in and election out. They tell us how business friendly they are, but they've been in office for over a decade. Eric said a moment ago that nobody here wants waste, fraud, and abuse, but they've allowed it to grow during the time they've been in office. The difference between not wanting it and actually acting to stop it. My City Hall opponents, do you really feel like they have been held accountable, ladies and gentlemen? If they haven't, you have the opportunity to hold them accountable. You can do so by voting for me, the independent candidate, the independent voice in this race on March 5th. My website is kevinjamesformayor.com. Follow this race in all of the media outlets because you will see from the ABC News poll, I was the only candidate whose numbers went up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again for hosting this debate. Each of us have worked together over the years to improve the quality of life of our neighborhoods. From Jules Fair planting some of those trees and us doing that to fighting to ensure our community was not overdeveloped. I don't just want to be the mayor, I want to do the job of mayor. I want to do the job like I did when I was working for President Clinton after the Northridge earthquake, which tomorrow is the anniversary of that, when we worked together to bring $1 billion to this community. I want to work with people like Bob Hertzberg, who's endorsed me and supported me and are pleased protectively to make the city a safer place and a community that we can embrace. As a lifelong Valley resident and someone who has served this community, we can do better. We can do better together. And I know that you care about the future of Los Angeles, whether it be education, creating jobs, and keeping our entertainment industry, and more importantly, improving our quality of life. And I know that each of us care deeply about that, and that we will join together and elect the next mayor of Los Angeles from the San Fernando Valley.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everybody, for taking time out of your schedule. Thank you for my fellow colleagues for being here as well in this. You know, I believe in Los Angeles, deeply. I believe in the San Fernando Valley. It shaped me. It made me who I am here today. And I believe that our best days are still ahead of us here in Los Angeles. You see, I've seen it on the streets of LA. I've seen it in the turnaround of neighborhoods that have become more walkable, that have become open to more parks. Number one in job growth, my district. Number one in new business starts in my district. Shaped by the values of my family, shaped by the values that I learned right here, visiting my grandmother on Dickens Street or my grandparents over on Kester. These were the days that I remember and that I will bring back as your next mayor. But you need an independent voice, an effective voice, not one where the special interests are pouring in to support somebody else, but one who has earned the grassroots support of the Democratic Party of the San Fernando Valley, the National Organization for Women, the League of Conservation Voters because of my environmental work, and who understands that our best days are still ahead of us. I ask you for your vote. It would be my honor to be your mayor and to earn your support. Please visit ericgarcetti.com.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me here tonight. I've had a great time. I came to Los Angeles in 1974 from the Midwest. I came from Ohio, and I thought this was an incredible place where people could wear shorts in January, and people were all slim, and I wanted to be a part of that. So I went to the University of Southern California, got an undergraduate degree, got a graduate degree, and started my life in the private sector 14 years ago. I'm the daughter of a World War II veteran and a mother who went back to college after having 3 kids in her 30s and became a social worker. So I have always been about community activism, going door to door and talking to people about what it is they need and how to support them. As mayor, I want to get the city back on track, rein in our pension costs, rein in our healthcare costs, get you reasonable rates so that people don't have to pay their Department of Water and Power bill in installment payments. They can pay it in one payment. So we can have a city where everyone can live and move forward and take care of their families. Please join me, JanPerry.com. Thank you very much.
Okay, one final thing. Jules, we have a raffle here. Does everyone have their red ticket?
Wait a minute. Oh, wait, don't stand, sit still, please.
There is major prizes.
Everybody, Jan, major prizes. You don't, well, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Okay, I need you to pick out 3 tickets from here.
get out your red tickets. This is big
Just
time.
remember who's standing next to you. Okay, there's one. Wait a minute. One more. One more. Okay, these winners will get 2 VIP passes for dinner at any one entree and a large drink.
Well, you don't have to give the details. You're ruining it, Jules. It's a big prize.
Well, it isn't, because I have 2 of them.
Oh, okay, go
So
on.
every person gets 2.
Oh,
2. First number, 834-947.
947. What's the next one?
Wait a minute. Anybody?
Oh, you got it. Okay, we have a winner. Next one.
834-922.
922. Who has 922?
Anybody?
Come on, some of us have it. Next one, Jules.
Nobody on that?
Next one, Jules. Come on. Everyone wants to come up front here, Jules.
Okay. 834-914.
914?
Anybody? Okay, come on.
Come on out. Are we done?
No. 517-004.
004. Who is 004?
Come on.
Okay. Are we done?
We're done.
Okay. With that, thank you for attending. Come on up. Be with the candidates.